Hello and a very good morning. We are live at the EANM Congress here in Vienna. My name is Roy Shepherd and we're going to be finding out what's been going on at the Congress over the last 24 hours and what is about to happen. The feedback I'm getting from people who are attending the conference is saying that the sessions have been fantastic, and it's always an interesting problem for the people who organize any Congress. You know, how do you build on previous ones? And the one thing beyond exceptional organization to make a Congress work is the work behind the scenes from the committees of all of the different disciplines within nuclear medicine. And we're going to be talking to a number of people involved in those committees in this program this morning. One of the committees has been working, the EANM Oncology and Theranostics Committee, have launched a survey for young nuclear medicine residents in May and June this year. And the results have just been published, and I've been joined by Karolien Goffin and Valentina Ambrosini, who've been involved in the survey. Karolien, if I can start with you, what is the survey about and why did you decide to do it?
So during last year's Congress, we had our committee meeting, and there we were discussing the future needs for nuclear medicine. As you've also been hearing from other speakers, the nuclear medicine field is evolving very rapidly, with radionuclide therapies coming into clinical practice, a lot of research questions still out there. So the question that we asked ourselves is how is the new generation of nuclear medicine physicians, what are their interests, what are their needs, what are their demands? And
challenges.
Of course, and challenges. And since most of us in the committee are still very young at heart, but not young in age, we decided let's ask them. Yes, let's ask them. And one of the things we did is have a survey to just check and see what their answers would be.
All right, give us a sense of the context for the survey. I mean, what did you already know about the challenges that are being faced and the things that would interest people? And we'll come into the results of the survey in a second. So set the scene for us a little bit more.
So I think there were a couple of things that we really wanted to get some more knowledge about. One of the things is how young nuclear medicine physicians and residents, how they want to be involved in EANM and what EANM can do for them. This was one of the questions.
So it's after they've decided that nuclear medicine is the field that they want to specialize in?
Yes, we were targeting here really young physicians who have already entered the nuclear medicine training program. And then the second thing is, since we have a very rapidly evolving field, we were wondering, what do they see for their future? Do they want to be involved in radionuclide therapy? Do they want to be involved in research? And these are questions that we also asked during the survey.
So who are you in competition with? What other disciplines do younger people consider? So you have to persuade them, no, come to us, don't go somewhere else.
I think at the moment our survey was not really trying to answer that question. We were really targeting physicians that already are dedicated to nuclear medicine. So yeah, in general, I think the young colleagues that are coming into our field now or either they're very interested in imaging, and then of course radiology is a discipline that's also of interest to them. If they're really into radionuclide therapy, then all the internal medicine, medical oncology, maybe radiation therapy would also be disciplines that they're interested in.
So the one advantage you've got really is that there is so much happening. It's such a rapidly developing discipline.
Absolutely. So we have the great opportunity to combine imaging, to combine treatments, and to use the imaging tools to guide treatment, to follow up patients, and this is really a great asset of nuclear medicine.
Okay, Valentina, if you can share with us now what you found with the survey. Before you go into that though, what were the surprises that you got? You may have had some preconceived notions of what it was going to throw up in terms of the data, but did you look at it and go, oh, I wasn't expecting that?
Well, it comes to my mind to mention two aspects. The first of all was that I was thrilled actually to see that most of the respondents actually answered that they would picture themselves in 10 years' time as working both in the clinic and in research, which means that most young people are actually interested in pursuing a career that has some also research opportunities. And on the other side, it is also very interesting to see that most of them are interested in Theranostics. And I personally
Wouldn't
was
you be surprised if they weren't? Because that's really where it's happening.
It depends, because some people get into nuclear medicine because they're interested in imaging per se, and some of them actually do not like the relationship with the patients. On the other side, it shows that nowadays these things has changed, and they are going with the flow, with the new areas of nuclear medicine. So that's interesting. And one also surprising thing was that they mentioned that they feel the need to have more residence-oriented courses, and also some occasions in which they can be taught on how to do research, which is surprising because maybe you would expect the academic programs across Europe would offer them already something like this, but probably they are more like academic and not probably more real life oriented.
So do you think this is where EANM and ESMIT can actually fill a much needed gap?
Certainly. Actually, I also think that probably we would also need to promote more the events that are already there, because actually ESMIT has so many courses, and even at the conference there were a lot of LIP sessions, and also this year residence for residence sessions. So probably the promotion of what is there on the web that can be also, the residents could also attend virtually from their home. We should probably promote them more, because they probably do not know that some opportunities exist.
So you found from the survey that there was a high, healthy proportion of people that wanted to become more involved in EANM and what EANM does.
Exactly. Yeah, they wanted to be involved, especially in EANM or ESMIT, and especially they would love to be part of educational programs followed by research projects. So we have a next generation of people who are interested in this. Of course, some of the results might be biased, because of course the respondents might be more eager to take part in research.
All right, what about publishing and being part of peer-reviewed journals? I mean, how interested were the survey respondents with that?
Well, we did not actually specifically ask if they wanted to be new authors, but of course they wanted to be part of the research. But certainly it is interesting to see that they wanted to be involved.
All right. What is the sort of combination? You mentioned it earlier on about clinical work and research. What is the balance that people tended to say they wanted to have?
To do what?
To do clinical or research, or both, and how much of which?
Most wanted to do both. Most wanted to do both, and of course, again, the cohort of these respondents is quite biased, because most of them are already involved in research. Most of them have already published a paper or are involved in a research plan in their centers. So they're probably already involved in research, and I'm very interested to do more. Yeah,
I was talking to Fred last night about his role within his career, and he's retired now. And he was saying because he's retired, he's not attending many of the sessions, but he's using it as a way of meeting up with old friends. And one of the things that came up in the survey was the need for more networking opportunities to build those relationships. What can be done to encourage that and build it in as part of what young people will get?
Well, I personally think that the possibility to organize residence-oriented events is quite important, because even the session that we had a few days ago, the residents said that it was good to see how residents from other centers actually reacted, and they
exchange programs.
Yeah. They could do it, and also the respondents said that most of them would like to be engaged in an exchange program abroad in order to see different procedures, different ways of things are done, and different radiopharmaceuticals, because we have to remember that not everything is available everywhere. And so I think that could be promoted.
And also that massively increases networking opportunities for people as well, isn't it? So you're building that community across the world. So how would you sort of summarize the overall feel that you got from the survey, and how has it encouraged you perhaps to actually be more proactive about delivering these sorts of things to your young members?
I think in general we were very positive about the results of the survey, and we were very happy to see that many residents want to be involved in research, want to be involved in EANM, and that they also clearly stated what they want from us as an EANM. And therefore we're also very excited to see this year's events that EANM has already started, such as the Young Residents Lounge,
the
Young Professionals Lounge.
They won't let me in.
I also don't have the wristband. Also the Young Investigator meeting that will be restarting. So many initiatives that are already ongoing, and this is great to see. Also we will be able to invite residents or young professionals to the committee meetings as observers. So also there they can get involved, and we can get more insights into their needs and how they see the future of nuclear medicine.
Great. It's been fabulous to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much. Congratulations on some really important work, and very encouraging that people were as enthusiastic as they were to be part of the survey. So the sense I get is that people do have a view, they want to be heard, and it's great that you've managed to capture all of that. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of the Congress. You mustn't walk off with that.
No, I'll leave it for the next speaker, sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. So thank you. We're going to hot seat now. So as you finish, I'll invite our next guest, Sonia, to come on stage. So Sonia, if you can join us, that would be fabulous. Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the Congress. We were talking a moment ago about ESMIT. ESMIT is the European School of Multimodality Imaging and Therapy. I know that because I was involved in doing training courses a number of years ago. My guest this morning is Sona Balogova, who was originally on one of the ESMIT courses that I delivered on presentation skills many, many years ago. And you're the chair of the Education Committee. So let's just talk a little bit about what's happening there. But I want to start with when we first met. We were reminiscing earlier on. I remember the very first time that we met because you came in a plaster cast. You'd broken your leg. That was like 5 years ago. Is it better now?
Thank you very much. This is far much better now, but this is not only that. It was in Vienna. It was in Vienna in 2017. Can you imagine?
Wow, amazing.
Can you imagine? But it was not my first Congress in Vienna. My very first Congress in Vienna was at the beginning of this century, many years ago. Subsequently in 2010, it was my first CME historically here in Vienna, at the Congress of Vienna. And since then, I did every year CME or pitfalls artifact sessions. Yeah. This is why and how I became a member of ESMIT. I was a teacher, and in 2017 it was our first meeting here in Vienna, and you delivered this wonderful course of presentation skills. Hopefully I was a good pupil, I don't know, but I did my very best.
Back. But anyway, so you're obviously committed to education,
yes.
And you're involved in ESMIT, and ESMIT was revolutionary at the time. I mean, it was a new initiative of EANM. Mm-hmm. And we were hearing just now about how young people, they are hungry for learning new stuff. So what would you say is the role of ESMIT today, because it has evolved over those last years, and how can ESMIT help the next generation of nuclear medicine people?
Yes, you know, education is extremely important in medicine, maybe even more important, and continuous education is maybe even more important in medicine than in other domains, because at the end of our university, we are not becoming specialists. We are not fully competent to do our job.
It's the foundation.
Yes, this is...
You're now ready.
Yes, we are not ready, and this is a continuous process. And also somewhere here is the place of ESMIT. ESMIT is an educational platform at the European Association of Nuclear Medicine, providing with educational content to attendees, and this is something what is very, very useful for our continuous growth.
Now, I know that we disagree on this, but my perception outside medicine is that medical education for many years has been brutal. You are talked at and you have data and information drummed into you for hour after hour after hour. But the next generation don't necessarily want to be talked at all the time, and there is so much technology happening now as well. How is ESMIT addressing the changing needs of students in order for you to be able to attract them in the first place and give them a more effective education?
I have on daily basis this discussion with my students. To perform something, to do something, they definitely need some base. They need some amount of data to start somewhere. But subsequently, it can start to be funny. We can do very practical learnings, very hands-on learnings. For example, we can show the real clinical cases to students, and subsequently they can try to treat the images. For example, we can do a lot. So this is not so boring anymore. They must.
You've just acknowledged and you've agreed that it was boring then, because you said no, it wasn't boring.
Yes, because in the past we didn't have such technologies as we have now. We can do a lot of things now, but to start somewhere, we need to have certain amount of knowledge,
sure,
of theoretical knowledge, and subsequently, yes, we can evolve something very practical and something very, very funny.
So what do students in ESMIT enjoy the most about what you're doing? Yes, you have all of the important education, information and data that you've got to share, but what do they like the most about the learning?
They like everything, but because they are selecting the format of education according to their expectations. We have got basically 3 formats of educations. We have got webinars, we have got online courses, and we have got on-site advanced courses. For those who are limited in time, for example, webinars are the best, because this is the short communication of what we are doing now, the actual information. Subsequently, it can be developed into online course, and the format I like the most is the advanced course in Vienna. This is the mixture of education in terms of theoretical lessons and subsequently hands-on sessions, which are extremely interesting.
What do you enjoy most about it?
For me personally, both. I like a lot interactive case reading. This is what I like a lot, because this is the place for discussion not only between teacher and student, but also for discussion between students, and it opens new horizons. By the way, education is not only one directional transfer of knowledge.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you. What do you learn from your students? Because you're a very curious person, you're very committed to education. Mm-hmm. So what do you get from the students?
I'm getting a lot from students because this is their insight. These are usually young people. Of course, there are some age limitations, but this is mainly for application for grants. This is not for education. As far as we are open to perspective of learning, we are still young. So this is a communication across all generations, across all populations, across all countries, and they are bringing a lot for me.
I mean, the one thing I've noticed is that everybody's lives in healthcare across the board are just full. I mean, they have so many responsibilities, and then you fit your personal life in around all of that. So I could imagine if I was a young resident, I would just think I need off time. Sometimes I need to be able to walk away, and so ESMIT is even more learning, and it's incredibly intense. For people who are young, that are ambitious and haven't really embraced ESMIT, how would you like to position ESMIT and persuade people to get more involved in the work of ESMIT?
People can be involved at several levels. They can, of course, attend our courses, but they can also contribute with the content to our courses. So we are not only receiving the information, we also can provide something. But for residents, what would I propose? Maybe they could start with webinars, and they also could attend the on-site courses in Vienna. This is concentrate of information. This is really it is worthwhile to attend 2 days, 2 intense days of education. Yes, yeah. Meeting people among them. We were a lot talking about young people. In the past, I was also a participant of this Young Investigators Meeting initiative, and it opens the way to education, to activities in European Association of Nuclear Medicine as well. So this is extremely complex. This is not only learning, this is not only education, but this is very, very complex.
All right. On a personal level, what do you get from coming to the Congress?
On a personal level, this is already a part of my life. So at every autumn, this is the Congress. So this is the education, this is to see the current trends. Because, Congress is a celebration of science. This is to show the trends. But at certain points, these trends will become a routine practice, if successful. And this is the moment where school is coming. So this is very, very continuous.
Fantastic. Sonia, it's been great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. I'm glad that you're feeling well after all of these years with your broken leg, and continue all the good work that you're doing. So thank you very much. All right.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Great.
Thank
you.
So,
Sona Balogova from ESMIT Education Chair. So we have our final guest who I'd like to introduce now onto the program. We have Domenico Albano. So Domenico, if I can ask you to join us here, it really is it's a very busy show this morning. So you are a scientific program representative from the Inflammation and Infection Committee. Yes. So what are you working on with that committee right now that would be of interest to people watching now?
Well, in the last period, we work a lot about the new guidelines, because we received many feedbacks during the last year by many colleagues that we need to update some old guidelines, and we need to write a new guideline, for example, about fever of unknown origin, or for example, about diabetic foot.
Why did it need updating? Is it changing so much?
You have to think that, for example, the general infection and inflammation guideline was published 10 years ago, and we know what happened in these 10 years. Not always good things, but for example, for our side, new technology, new radiotracer, new equipment. So I think that this society and our committee needs to be a position, needs to be write these new guidelines. It was, of course, a tough work, but we are satisfied because I think that we reached very good results. And these guidelines were presented during one CME session during this Congress, and so we have the opportunity to show our preliminary results, our preliminary draft, and we are very satisfied.
I mean, I said at the beginning of this program that without the work of committees, this could not happen because there is so much work that goes on. For the guidelines, you say, okay, you're creating a book, effectively. But how do you go about looking at the existing guidelines and deciding what needs to be changed, what needs to be updated? Can you give us an overview? Don't go into too much detail of how you organize that, and give us an idea of the timescales.
Yes, we start always from the previous guideline. The idea usually is to contact the people that write that guideline, if they are always active.
Or alive.
Or alive. Usually yes, but I'm not sure. And we start with a meeting online at this time, of course, and we decide what we need to change, what not. Then we perform a literature review, for example, to search new articles, to search a new publication, and then according to the skills of each member of this group, because we create a group, of course, because there are many guidelines, so every man or woman can do everything. We divide the jobs, and then we have every month, every 2 months, a meeting, so we can update and we can continue with the work as best as possible.
What amazes me, though, is that you do all of this work by fitting it around what you're paid to do, because everybody is volunteer.
Absolutely volunteer.
Yeah.
No money.
Why should anybody get involved in this committee work when they might feel that you have no idea how busy I am already? Why would I agree to take on even more of a workload, and I'm not even paid for it?
Because we love this discipline. This is the answer, I think. The same reason why we participate to the committee, why we participate to this event, why we participate to speak, talk, because we love what we do.
Well, funnily enough, I mean, talking to Karolien and Valentina earlier on, they were saying that the respondents to their survey, they wanted opportunities to network. Well, I can't imagine a better way of networking and building long-term relationships than to get involved in committee work. How keen are you to get younger people to become involved in committees?
This is a good question. This is a problem that we discuss in our committee because we need absolutely young. They are our future. They need to involve them. I appreciate very much EANM proposal for the next year and EANM projects, because this is a good idea to involve more these young. When I speak with young colleagues during this Congress, they told me, I'm very interested about infection and inflammation, but it's very difficult. Yes, of course, but they told me, we don't have all the answer. Yes, but we can try to get it, and we can do it because we have new technology, we have new possibilities. So the point is, we have to work, of course.
So my guess is that if you get involved in a committee, you actually get to see the future before everybody else.
Yes, this is the truth.
So if you were going to try and appeal to more people to join committees, to spread that workload, and to add to your own workload, what would you say to persuade people to join committees?
I think that we have to show this future. We have to show this future to all people, and if they can be interested, we have to involve them, we have to help them, we have to be a support for them. It's not easy, of course, because we have to work also for this, but we can do it and we want to do it, because I think that we don't have so time free to work for this project. We are quite, we have many personal issues, we have many work issues, so it's important to have also young people more active, for example, with social, with new technology. This is fundamental for every committee and also for our committee.
Think of the program and think of the sessions that interest you the most, bearing in mind what your specialism is. What sessions stand out in your mind as being particularly interesting at this Congress?
I appreciate very much a LIP session about long COVID, because I'm not sure that we know long COVID so well. Probably we
it's still happening.
Yes, yes, this is true. Every month we have new data, we have new publication. I've presented a talk about lung COVID. I've changed it so many times during the last months, because every week there is a new publication. Okay, lung scintigraphy is useful. After 1 week, no, it's not so useful, it's better FDG PET. After 1 week, probably it's better CT. So it's a very dynamic situation. Of course, we need more time, but I think that...
But that's also the reason why you need to get involved, because you get the latest thinking all the time.
Yes, we are not robots, so if I lost something,
anyway.
There is a colleague that told me, we have lost this article. Okay, thank you very much. And can we discuss? We can update. And this Congress was perfect for this kind of relationship, this kind of discussion. The speaker and the talks are very, very nice, very updated. So I suggest to participate every year, because after this Congress, your skills, your knowledge improve dramatically in a positive way, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's, I think that especially for young, but also for not young, it's absolutely crucial and fundamental to be present.
It's young of mind, not young of body.
Good definition. Good definition. If they are alive, of course.
All right, yeah, of course, there's that as well. Okay, Domenico, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It was a pleasure.
And I love the energy and the enthusiasm that you have for the topic, and wanting to encourage more people to get involved. So that's great. So thank you very much indeed. Well, that's all from our 4th edition of EANM TV. I hope you found it interesting. We'll be back later for our live show at 5:15 CEST. Join me then. You can also catch us on Catch Up, obviously. Hope you have a great day today, and we'll see you at 5:15 this afternoon. Thank you very much.